Today's broadcast is being brought to you by wokeskiptracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match, not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. wokeskiptracing.com. That's wokeskiptracing.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, it's about that time. It's Monday Night Raw, real estate style. We do this show right here each and every Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, where we come in and talk about real estate, entrepreneurship, getting your mind right and getting your game right so you can do something great on this planet before you leave. Don't leave here talking about I wanted to do something one day and never did it. Leave here something great. Leave something for your grandchildren. Leave something for your great-grandchildren. Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff we like to talk about. Go ahead, put your name and where you're coming in from in the comments. And I love to get you a shout out before we get started with the show. We got a nice one for you tonight. And we also have nice ones coming up for you each and every Monday night. We are streaming live right now on Instagram at Chris Monroe STL. For you watching on Instagram, make sure you hop on over because it's only on for the first 5 or 10 minutes before we get this thing popping right. Jump on over to Chris Monroe STL on YouTube because we're streaming there as well live. We're streaming in the Woke Real Estate Investing Group. For those watching over there, shout out to you. What up, woke people? Then we're also streaming on my regular Facebook page and on Chris Monroe's show on Periscope/Twitter. You know, Twitter trying to make a comeback or something. So, you know, we got to put our footprint in there. So like I say, put your name in and where you're coming in from. We get you a shout out. Let's see what we got here. We got a couple of announcements for you. Next week, we're going to try to bring back round 2 of Miss Andy. Just Ask Andy coming back on Monday, July 13th. Next Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be talking about how to build family credit and parlay it into an empire. Mom, dad, and their kids. That's next Monday night, July 13th. Make sure you're tuned in for that. The following week, we got one of my favorite people, Flip Man. He'll be on July the 20th, talking about flipping those contracts for profit. You know, he's been in the game for a minute, so you definitely want to give out, you know, go ahead and pick the brain of the OGs that have been around before you so you can learn to not make mistakes like they have so you can be better and gooder. Ain't that right? That's right. The following week, we're going to be talking about how to invest in tax liens and tax deeds with True Lawyer, a.k.a. Charmaine Robinson out of Chicago. That's going to be on July 27th. We're on with her. We're going to definitely get some good nuggets in for people like you. So make sure you're tuned in for that. That's going to be a great show as well. And for as if you want to be notified of these shows as they come up, it's real easy. All you got to do is text JV to 31996. That'll get you the post notifications. Text JV to 31996. That'll get you that free joint venture agreement. And you'll also get that notification so you know when we're going live each and every Monday night. But as far as tonight, you know, we got my bro, Antonio J. Edwards. He's in the green room, warming up right now, about to come out swinging and bucking and swinging and letting y'all know how we do this thing called real estate and how to flip houses in a competitive market. So like I say, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share if you care. Let's see who we got up in here. What's up, Keith from Raleigh? Raleigh in the building. Las Vegas showing love. What's up, Kevin? What's up, Lee Imperial? Where is Imperial? I know where it's at, but most people don't know. That's like south of St. Louis, but shouts out to you as well. I made it. All right, Danielle Denise. How many names you got? You didn't change your name again? What's up, Danny? Just messing with you. Out in Florida too. Or no, you in Virginia, right? All right, Laguna Beach. Where is that at? In California. All right, one of those competitive markets. You in the right place today. What's up? What's up? Let's see. Introverted investors. I see you. Who else we got in here? Michelle and ATL. What up? Trey from the VA. How y'all try to make this stuff rhyme? Well, y'all just trying to make it me. Shantae in St. Louis. What's up? What's up? You in the place to be too? And you looking for a scrapyard? I don't have any clue. Go up on Hall Street. Let's see, and Periscope people watching in as well. So like I say, we got some people chimed in. We're ready to get this thing going. Tag somebody who want to know this stuff. We're about to get this thing going, y'all. It's time to get it popping.
And we have and we have and we have Mr. I stay. Whoa, 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 and Mr. I stay.
Woke. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the student master teacher, Mr. I Stay Woke, Chris Monroe, and I'm right back at you with another real estate video. Tonight we got a special guest coming in from the South, my bro, Antonio Edwards. What up, bro? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing today, man?
All is well, man. You know how it is. I see your background up there. I got to jack some of that stuff. You got some nice decor behind you there.
I appreciate it. Can you hear me well, though, first and foremost? I'm on my phone right now.
We can hear you. There is a small delay, but it might catch up on its own.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to make sure all the audio is perfectly correct so you can hear me. Before we drop some killer bombs tonight, man, for your following.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, bro. For people who may not know, who are you, Antonio, and what do you do?
Yeah, so for people who don't know me, I've been in the game since 2009. It's actually, it'll be 11 years next month. So I'm celebrating my 11th year anniversary in this business. It's been a long journey, and it's been a fun ride. I was previously in the music business. I was producing beats and in the studio 15 hours a day, selling beats for $300 or $1,000 here, and it was a tough job, man. I mean, it's still a passion today, and it was a passion back then. But the hours traded for yourself to be working was it was a must. So at the time beginning of 2009. The producer of 50 Cent's first single. Remember the first single, Wankster, Chris?
Yeah, Wankster song. You don't tell me you made that.
Yeah, no, I didn't make it. I knew the producer. I ran into the producer who produced that track, right? So he had a We Buy Houses truck in my neighborhood at the time, and I flagged him down, and it was somebody I can relate to. That was kind of like me. So he took his $250,000 or $240,000 publishing deal check from that Wankster track and invest in real estate and start fixing, flipping, and rehabbing houses. And along came that house within his fix and flips, and he made like a $30,000 or $40,000 check. So he showed me a check for $30,000, $40,000. And he was like, "Hey, I did this without any of my money or credit." And I was like, "Dude, like how did you do it?" You know what I'm saying? Like, take me under your wing, because like, man, that's a lot better than me being in the studio selling beats for $300 and I'm charging people $40 an hour to as a studio session. It was a lot better than that. So with that being said, we met at the Starbucks the next day, and I kind of like broke down like what I wanted to do, what my budget was, and I didn't really have a budget. I did have a couple of dollars on a credit card. I probably had like $200-$300 cash in my name, a 560 credit score. I was broke. Like I didn't have nothing. I was basically poor. You know what I mean? And what he did, he had me order some bandit signs, man. I ordered my first 100 bandit signs. This is back when bandit signs was working like a charm to get seller leads. Like nowadays, for people watching this, if you're using bandit signs, yes, they do work, but they, at the end of the day, that's not going to be my first lead generation tool in this market. I mean, that's bandit signs is tough to get deals these days.
Why
But
is
back
that?
then,
Why do you think that is?
oh, because it's so much competition, so many people in the game now. Everybody's wholesaling. Back in those days in 2009, I came in a crash. Yeah, I came in a great, what they call the Great Recession, right? And back then, at the time, I didn't know it was a Great Recession. I just know that I was doing the 1 to 2 to 3 deals a month as a
Right.
newbie, off the bandit signs. And they called me the bandit sign king back in those days. And because, I mean, my bandit signs was all over town, Chris. I'd put out 100 bandit signs a night by myself once a week. 4 to 500 average a month by myself. I mean, I was going hard, but I was averaging about 2 deals or so a month just off bandit signs. You know, but just rewind a little bit. I ordered my first batch of bandit signs of 100, put those 100 up from like 11 in the morning to 5. 11 at night till 5 in the morning. It took me about 6 hours to get them out, all 100. And I think like a week or so later, I got that call, man. Before that, I got multiple calls of just like people that just wasn't as motivated. But that week later, after I put them signs, it was that one call, bro. It's that one call, and we know it was just the key words. Hey, you know, I need to sell. I need cash. It was an heir property. He had brothers, 4 heirs. It was 5 heirs and 1 sober heir, which was the one that called me. Right? He was the sober one that had power of attorney over his brothers. The 4 brothers were the crackheads living in the house. It was a crackhead house.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a lot of motivation going on. So I was at the, you know, my message and my marketing was out at the right place at the right time. He contacted me. I didn't know nothing about real estate. So what I do? I called my mentor, the one that did the Wayster track. He was in the game, you know, years before me. So, now we made an appointment. We made an appointment to go to the property. Went to the property, and Chris, I've never in my million years, just, you know, for my lack of experience, I'm like, who would buy this property? You know what I'm saying?
You thinking
who
it's trash?
Property?
So you thinking it's trash?
Trash.
Ain't nobody gonna want this.
This is my mindset at the time. Like, who's gonna buy this property? Like, why are we getting this property under contract to buy? Like, and secondly, I don't have the money to buy this property. That's my mindset back then. It was a lack of mindset. I was telling myself stories, right? Those limited beliefs are what we call them. And I remember I got Chris, that's his name, by the way, my mentor at the time. He was just like, we walking in the house, man. I mean, it smelled like piss. It was no electric. It was no water. They was just like, it was 4 brothers in there just laid out, man. Laid out. Beer. Oh, it was crazy.
I mean, what did you have to do to get them all to cooperate to want to leave? I mean, or was it that they all wanted money, or how did that go?
Oh, the sober brother, he had his own property. He was very stable, and he had the power of attorney to get them out. But he was forced to sell it because the neighbors were complaining. I mean, these brothers had people coming in and out the house all times a day. They just happy they had a place to stay for free. I mean, for the most part, they were not paying any bills, and they was okay living there without any electric. And pretty much during the daytime, this was back in like August of 2009. I closed it in August. This was in maybe that summer, like that June or so of 2009, because it took a couple months to close. So it was like June of 2009. This was summer. They was outside during the day. Like, they had people all, like other crackheads around, you know, in that area at the house. That was the spot.
They come party at the free house.
Yeah. So I'm walking in the house with my mentor with the sober air. He made me this there. And I'm like, who will buy this? And I remember my guy, Chris, my mentor, he was just like, I smell money. Because the ceiling was leaking, and it was just a lot of mildew smell. It was just bad, man. But to make a long story short, we went to the backyard, and I remember It was somewhere. I think he stood in front of the AC unit, which was kind of like it just needed a whole AC unit. It was just tore up. It was an old AC unit for like years old, and he asked the seller. He stood in front of the AC unit and he was like, "Hey, what's the best you can do for this property again?" And keynote for the people that's watching this is the reason why he did that because he wanted to stand in the worst part of the property to get his negotiation, the price down more. So that can embed in the seller's brain, like, wow, this property is not worth like what I thought it was going to be. Because I think it was asking like, it's been a lot. I've done so many deals since then, but I think he was asking around like 65 or somewhere in the 60s, which was a good deal for a cash buyer. But since we were wholesaling it, we need to get it down so we can make us a spread. At the time, I didn't know that, but now I look back and you're like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. But we end up getting the property down to $48,000. To make a long story shorter, and as soon as we locked the property up in the backyard, he brought blank contracts and always bring some documents with you. You just never know. You just never know. All right, this is another tip. And he's writing the contract up, and I'm all just all eyes, all ears at the time. It's a little 2-page simple contract, purchase agreement with a assignment clause, meaning you can assign that document or that contract to anybody who will step into your shoes. So we locked it up for $48,000, walk away. I drove with my mentor at the time. So we get into his truck because we buy houses truck, and he calls a buyer, one of his buyers, on speakerphone. So with that being said, he told this buyer, we say we have this property for $62,500. Hours later, the buyer, he must have drove by it or something. I don't think he went inside of it. It was one of them buyers that knew the area. He sold him $62,500. A few hours later, man, he said he'll buy it.
Wow.
And it was supposed to be like a 3-week close, but it had some issues. This was an air property, so it was some title issues that came up, and it didn't close till like a couple of months later. So this took like roughly about a couple of months to close, but due to title issues. But I still made $12,500 August of 2009. That was my first deal. After that, my first 12 months, I did 26 deals. In my first 6 months, I made my first $100,000 liquid in my bank account.
In 6 months?
Some people, yeah. To some people, that's a lot of money. And on the flip side, to another group of people, that's not a lot of money. But to me, where I come from, that was a lot of money to have in my bank account. I've never had more than probably $5,000 or $6,000 in my account at once.
So wait a minute, you telling me you saying $100,000 in 6 months?
Wholesaling houses.
Wow, that was smoking. You hit the ground running hard.
Oh, after that first one, 12.5, that was a chunk there. My next one was 5. My next one was 10, 15, 12.5, 13. I mean, they were adding up, man.
So you were an instant believer from the beginning, because a lot of people have to be convinced that there's tons of money in this business and they don't believe it.
100%. Real quick, Chris, can you hear me clear though?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yep. You're good.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's all about your sense of awareness and who you're hanging around, and you got to educate yourself for one. And if you want to learn this business, all right, starting out, and I'm just putting myself in my shoes and how my mindset was 11 or 12 years ago, right? I was not aware that I was hanging around a certain group of people that were really holding me back from financial success. And some people can resonate to this, and that's huge. And it's tough to distance yourself from the group you've been hanging around with for years and years, or maybe you graduate from high school with, or just friends you have from even sometimes family, to get to that type of financial success that you want, because it's a certain mindset that you have to adapt. Like myself, I wasn't naturally around this as coming up as a kid. I wasn't educated, even from school. Schools doesn't educate you about this financial literacy. I had to adapt this mindset, and how I adapted was first becoming aware of it, and secondly, hanging around a group of people, like-minded people that had a mindset that understood financial literacy, because this is a rare people that that understand financial literacy is very rare. Like, I mean, you can go out today and you can overhear people's conversation in a matter of like 60 seconds. You can be like, wow, like, you know, you could
Even
tell
people
kind of
with
where
all
they're
these degrees, somebody can be a doctor, a lawyer, and anything, and still don't really, click.
100%, 100%. I see my boy Chris. That's my guy too. So that shout out
Yeah.
to Chris. Yeah, he was the one that put me on to the game, man.
Chris Haskins,
Um,
that's my bro.
yeah, facts.
Most
But
definitely.
so you have to hang around a group of people, and at that time, my mindset was very limited, man. And my mom gave me the book. This is my first book I ever read cover to cover in my 20s. Was Rich Dad Poor Dad. My
Oh,
first, but prior to that, I hated reading books. I hated it. Like, something I just never liked it was reading books. But after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it started opening me up to entrepreneurship, and most importantly, real estate. Like, it was like, wow, like, right, real estate is like, this could be something for me, because prior to that, another limited belief, another story I was telling myself, I thought you needed a lot of money for real estate to invest in real estate. I thought you needed perfect credit. Right? In some instances, I thought you needed a license, a realtor's license,
yeah. People
right?
ask me that all the
And
time. Do you have a license? And I'll be like,
yeah,
nah.
and back then, as a black man, I was like, man, black people don't invest in real estate.
Mm.
11, 12 years. That was my limited belief that held me back without the awareness.
How do one break that though? When they have that limiting belief to think that this isn't
Yeah.
real, are they just talking? I mean, you would think enough people come on and say the same thing. It must be something to this.
Well, right now, right now we have social media. 11, 12 years ago, it was barely MySpace. If you really want to count that as a social media platform that was like that was effective. I mean, nowadays with all the social media, it makes the playing field realistic for people, because
Right.
they can see people that's like them, or like kind of like them, or be like, oh, he can do it, I can do it. She can do it, I can do it. Because it's so wide open with social media.
Most definitely.
It's really no excuse. So people, we're all this is kind of like, people are watching this on YouTube. That's a social media platform, or maybe Facebook. They could be watching this. I mean, Instagram. I mean, you see so many people that are successful. You have to choose wisely, though. That's very important. And another thing, you want to, like, my social. I'm mainly on Instagram. That's where I mainly be, as far as my post, and where I network is on Instagram. 95% of the people I follow are entrepreneurs.
That's smart. See, a lot of people be talking bad
Yeah.
about social media, but they following the wrong
Oh,
jokers.
in 2019, last year, I bought 9 properties just off Instagram. Like DMs, just people DMing me because they know I'm a real estate guy. You get what I'm saying? I branded myself, and I let people know what I do. So you have to utilize social media to make your life a lot more easier. And it, of course, it can become a bad place to be if you let it be that way. But if you really like utilize social media, it's an incredible opportunity.
Most definitely.
Incredible opportunity.
Vanessa over here wants to know, did you pay your mentor?
What I did at the time was I did a deal split with him. And then on the second deal, I believe I raised my first capital of private money for rehab with Chris, which was that was another limited belief. I didn't know that. I was at the time. I look back. I was moving so fast. Like, my first deal was wholesale. My second deal was a rehab that I took over subject to. And Chris at the time raised the money for the purchase price. All right, I think it was like 70 some thousand. I don't know. Been so long ago, but I needed to raise about 15 or something to go towards the repairs. And I'm like, man, I don't like have that, like, So I knew a family member that had some good money in their IRA, And I remember I told him about it, and he was like, "Hey, that's a perfect lead for private lender." And it's like, man, my mindset is like, man, I don't want to ask somebody. I don't want to borrow some money from somebody, and that was my mindset. And you have to look at it. If you're raising capital, it's not technically. You don't want to look at it as borrowing money. You want to look at it as kind of like it's an opportunity for both parties, because at the time, my grandma, who I raised the money from, she had this IRA money getting 1% in her IRA, right? Where I can give her 8 to 10 or 12 times more on what she's getting sitting in that IRA, which that's what I did. Actually, I gave her 15%, so it's 15 times at the time. I just offered, like, hey, I'll give you 15% return on your money. Annualized return, and I could have really gave her 10%, but either way, I did a good deed, did 15%, and I raised my first capital of 15 grand in 2009. That was my second deal to rehab.
So you telling me in your first year you came out swinging for real, wholesaling, doing subject twos, dealing with private money. You just got bombarded with all this advanced stuff in your first year.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I
But
hit the ground running.
Mentor, though, right? It's thanks to that mentor that kind of helped you.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to put a roof on a property, right? I'm not going to try that myself. If that was something I wanted to do, I'm going to find who's good at roofing, and I'm going to be all eyes, all ears, and watch them put that the shingle on top, and just try to mimic what they do and take notes. I'm not going to do it myself. Same if I wanted to be a dentist. I'm not going to just, hey, Chris, let me try to, you be my beta tester. Let me pull out your tooth. Let me give you a deep clean. I'm going to show me how to be a good dentist.
I think we're freezing up slightly. Yep, we're coming back. You there? All right. Yes, it kind of.
There you go.
Yeah, now you're back, and we're back. You was doing some magic. You did something like that, and abracadabra froze on us. He said,
"Wow." Yeah. So basically, I was just saying, like, you want to find a mentor in any niche that you want to pursue in. You know what? I trust me. I get it. Trust me, I get it. The analysis paralysis, and you trying to learn it yourself and bang your head. And there's a lot of people out there like that, man. This is my thought on it, and this is my perspective. I think a lot of that within us that's trying to learn ourselves comes from schooling, how we're taught in school. We're not taught to cheat, which in real life you're supposed to cheat. You're supposed to like ask experts and cheat and get the answers from other people. In school, like if I cheat on a test, I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting punished. I'm gonna fail. Like they're going to give me you get what I'm saying? So a lot of those behaviors come from schooling, which we all know about schooling, and that especially as we get older, we know that it's not the best system that taught us over the years by far.
So you're saying they punishing us for cheating when in real life we need to learn how to collaborate.
And like a mentor to me is like the cheat code to success. A vetted mentor is a cheat code to success, hands down. Like whatever, if you want to learn real estate, go find somebody that you can vibe with, for one, because you can find somebody who's super credible and super successful, but if your energy not right, that's a whole different angle. That's a whole different thing. You got your energy got to be right first, right? And then if they're credible and vetted, you just learn. Just be the protege to them and just learn the ropes. It makes life so much easier. That's why I like to go to masterminds. That's why I'm in masterminds, because we go in. I talk about my business. I talk about what issues and problems I'm having in my business, and they will give me the solution to the problem to my business. Or maybe, hey, I got this deal right here. I'm looking to raise $1 million, $2 million. Anybody here? Here's the numbers, and then somebody give me the answers to my problem.
Right.
In school, you can't do that. We got to like learn it ourselves. We got to figure it out in class. It's just a complete 180 in real life.
Say real life is a reality check. So for those who are watching on these
100%.
different streams here, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share, drop your questions in there. If you have any questions about anything we're talking about, make sure you drop it in. We'll get it for you. And so you mentioned something here a second ago in regards to mentors, coaches, things like that. How does one know that they are ready for a coach or a mentor? Should they do that early on in their career? Should they take a little time to learn the basics, then find somebody? What is your position on something like that?
That's a great question. If you're finding yourself learning something and you're constantly learning and beating your head on something every day and you're not getting the results, look for a mentor. Quickly look for a mentor, because we can easily go to, just say, YouTube, watch all the videos, and this is something when you lack experience on. Just say how to wholesale a property and you had never done a deal. You're going to see videos from me. You're going to see videos from him, her. And then you're gonna start watching all these videos, and next thing you know, you're watching how to own and finance properties. When you just segue to a whole nother strategy when you try to learn wholesale. And didn't even realize it. So with a mentor, they can guide you and kind of hold your hand, and get you learn the wholesale business, get that going, and so, because you can understand the principles, right? And it just gets you there faster. On top of that, you're gaining the experience from that investor or that mentor of however years they've been in the business, whether it's 10 or 20 years. You're gaining 10 or 20 years of experience versus you have 0 years of experience. It just makes life a lot more easier, less stressful, and people tend to give up when they try to learn something themselves. They eventually give up.
Yeah, that's true. People do give up. They say, you know what? It's too hard. And I'm like, no, you need a cheat code. Get somebody that can help.
A cheat code. I mean, Chris, you can't. It's crazy how many people that I've like that hit me up on a DM, or if I go speak at a speaking engagement or something like that, and people come up to me or DM me and they be like, hey, Antonio, man, I've been trying this for 18 months, man. I haven't got a deal yet. What am I doing wrong? 18 months is a long time to not have done one deal.
Yes.
So the first question I asked was like, okay, how much marketing have you put out the last 30 days? And usually all the answers are around the same. Oh, I put up $200 and I mailed out a couple of letters. How many leads have you got in the last 30 days? And how many offers have you made within the last 30 days? Usually they put out a couple of $100 of whatever this, maybe did some bandit signs, maybe did some hand wrote some letters themselves. They may got 3 leads and just made 1 offer. And do you see the issue there, Chris?
You don't got enough. The pipeline not full.
Yeah. But that lack of awareness is they thought they took massive action. They thought they did. But if they would have had a mentor, they would have 20x that budget. Instead of putting a couple of $100, they would have put more if they could, 1,000, 2,000 into a text campaign, which text campaign is one of the top ways to acquire leads in this specific market and time we're in versus 11, 12 years ago. I didn't know of it. I don't think text campaigns was out.
And I do want to touch on that a second too. These text campaigns, I see a lot of people doing it, but it seems like to me it's making a lot of people get a little lazy. I mean, would you agree?
What do you mean by lazy?
Well, I mean, it's like, so say we run a text campaign. People write back, yeah, I want to sell what you want to give me for it. They want to have a full conversation over the text instead of picking up that phone and actually having a conversation with that person and actually working out a deal.
You know what? That is. I see where you're going with that. That is true. See, in that case, I feel like that investor is probably more than likely going to miss out on deals more so the person who's going to get them on the phone. Here's what we like to do with the text campaigns. We like to obviously send the text out and see if they're looking to sell first. And if they're looking to sell and they provide us a number, hey, my property's $200,000. Okay, even if we need to be at $100,000, and we're targeting, they say we're targeting free and clear. We already know the house free and clear. They're asking 200, and we at 100 in our brains. We're not going to say, hey, we're at 100 over text. Right. We're not going to do that. My team is going to call. As soon as they say a number, we're calling them on the phone and try to build that rapport because, 10 texting context, you can't really build as much rapport. We just use a texting campaign just to weed out the people who do not want to sell.
Exactly.
And the people that do want to sell, okay, now let's get them on the phone. So
right.
that's the reason why we do the texting campaigns. I have seen people that you try to do all texting, no talking.
Right.
Like, you have to. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing all texting, no talking, and you're not going to the property, you're gonna be missing out on a lot of deals. Now you can do deals like that. You're just gonna be missing out on a lot of deals. You want to, at least, if you're going to do a sight unseen offer, at least get that person on the phone and just exploit your personality. That's just my 2 cents.
I agree 1,000% over. And that's what I mean about the being lazy part. They want to just blast out numbers, blast out things, have a conversation quick, screen, instead of going in and actually talking to a person, speaking to them, and being a person. People sell to people who they know, like, and trust, right? Not just a text message. That's just a random person to them. Are you switching up here on this? Or you in 3 places? He's everywhere.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Cool. So I'll put you on my desktop.
There you go. So he done upgraded on us. It's on now. Cash flow king in the building. It's on now. All right. So when it comes to marketing, I know you said you like text. You mentioned a little bit about bandit signs. Is there other creative marketing strategies that you like to share with the audience?
Creative marketing strategies. Yeah, I mean, I like owner financing. I love subject twos. For those of you who don't know the difference between the two or any at all, I mean, subject two is basically you have a property with a loan on the loan on the property. Just say I just say my second deal. I just go back to my second deal in 2009. Just say the owner owed $70,000 on the property, right? And he was asking $80,000. Okay, and the ARV is 150. Let's say the ARV is 150. All right. So instead of us coming to the table for 80,000, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, like you froze up. So instead of coming to the table with $80,000, we had the seller hold his loan in place at 70, which he said yes to, because his motivation, he wanted an RV camper. He just wanted an RV. So we was like, okay, RV is about $7-8 grand. Okay, so that's his motivation. He basically needed some money to buy an RV so he can live in it. So we kept the loan in place at $70,000, and whatever the terms on that loan is, that's what you, the buyer, are stepping into. So I think he had like 15 years left on the loan. The loan was maybe like $500 and some dollars, including principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So we took over that loan. All right. Subject to $70,000, and all we had to come to the closing table was $10,000 plus closing costs. So the total purchase price, I'm just saying an example. Just say the purchase price, he wanted, we gave him 80, and he had a $70,000 loan. We took over the loan for 70. All right, that means we don't have to come to the closing table with 70 because we're keeping that loan in place and continuing to make the payments throughout the life of the loan, and we just bring the difference of the cash to the closing table. And that's what we did. And that's a subject too. All right. Now you have to be ethical as an investor to continue those payments, right? Because you don't want to mess up the credit. Now, as investors, we like that, but we like subject twos because our credit credit is not involved, and we don't have to worry about coming out with any more extra cash out of pocket versus coming out the pocket, an all cash deal. So that's the subject too. Here's one I just did. Here's a sweet one I did. I just did one, but I want to talk about one I did. I bought a duplex about a year ago, man, and this is a sweet one. I bought one subject to, right? The owner owed $59,000 on the property, right?
Uh-huh.
All he wanted he was stuck on this. He was stuck. He was not coming down, and it was already a sweet deal. This duplex is worth $140 as is. I own it. I still own it today. I'm never going to sell that like anytime soon. But anyway, I bought. He owed $59,000 on the property left, and he's wanted 62. So it was a sweet deal. A super motivated guy. So what I did, I took over the loan. I took over the $59,000 loan. He only had 13 years left on the loan, give or take. My monthly payment on that is $497 PI, principal, interest, tax, and insurance. And all I had to do was come to the closing table was $3,000 plus closing costs. Does that make sense?
Quickly, I'm there with skid marks.
Does that
I'm
make
there
sense?
yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, okay. So I kept that $59,000 loan in place. He still got $62,000 purchase price. Either way, if I would have came to the closing table $62,000 all cash, he still would have got the same $3,000 because that $59,000 would have went to his loan company to pay off the loan. So I just kept it in place, so I won't have to come to the closing table for the 462. I only had to come to the closing table was $3,000, which went in his pocket, and I paid like $1,400 in closing costs. So I was out basically $4,400. I got myself a nice side-by-side duplex that's worth $140,000.
And you didn't even, so that it, I guess it didn't need much repairs or anything.
You freezing up? Can you hear me?
I'm guessing it didn't need many repairs.
I would say each unit probably need about 7,000 repairs each. However, I'm a big candidate of the slow flip method. So basically what I did is I slow flipped it, which in a nutshell is kind of like an owner finance deal, but it's not. But I slow flipped it to an investor, right? Because I don't want to be a landlord. All right. I like to buy properties and hold them for cash flow, but I still don't like to be on the hook to be a landlord. So what I did, I brought this property for 62 total. All I had to come to the closing table was $3,000 down plus closing costs, and I kept the $59,000 loan in place. So now, still to this day, I'm paying his loan payment $497 every month. So here's what I did: I slow flipped it to an investor, and I got $10,000 non-refundable down. I sold it to him for $125,000, and he's paying me for 30 years. He's paying me $1,000 a month, $1,100 a month, $1,100 a month, give or take. So I'm basically getting the difference between $497 and $1,100. That's my cash flow. But I left some meat on the table for him because he's going to be the landlord, right? He actually fixed up each other. I think it's probably worth like 170, 180 now. He's fixed up. I haven't seen it since he fixed it up, but he told me he fixed it up. He fixed up each unit, and he's getting $795 per unit. So he's getting pretty much $1,600 a month.
Wow. So that's what I'm talking about. So you basically created some equity, created some cash flow, and created opportunity for somebody else, and you still making money all while you sitting back and doing nothing but collecting checks.
Well, actually, direct deposit. I don't know if you know checks, but here's the beautiful thing. Here's why I'm in the driver's seat, because the deed is still in my name, for one, even though I owner finance in the deal. The type of owner finance I do, we call them slow flips. I kept the deed in my name. So in my Virginia market, we could still evict them like a regular tenant. And here's another reason why I'm in the driver's seat. He put some money in each of those units. If he defaults, I keep his $10,000 is non-refundable. He can't get that back. And he's going to give me a duplex that he fixed up and put money into each unit. So I get the property back. I'm just going to rinse and repeat, Chris. I'm going to get another 10 grand down, find another handyman investor who wants to be a landlord, and get another $1,100 a month. I'm not going to lose.
You can't lose. Actually, that just happened to me. My first one just happened that exact way. First person moved in, they only gave me $4 grand down. He lived there for 4 or 5 months, ended up moving out. The next guy came right in and gave $10,000 down on the same little house that I ain't never do nothing to.
Right.
Say the goose that keeps on laying those golden eggs. You gotta love that. So that's right. So Antonio, so that's good. So what markets are you investing in right now?
Yeah, so I'm killing which is my backyard, the Virginia market. I live in Orlando, Florida. My backyard in my stomping ground market is the Virginia market. I started in the Birmingham market, and that's pretty. I've learned that that's a very similar market to my Virginia market. We just did a slow flip there about actually a couple of months ago, and I'm looking to go back. I just talked to one of my NFL athletes, which we're partner there. We're doing some partnerships there. We'll talk about going back in July to pick up, not July, but August next month to pick up another 5 properties in the Birmingham market.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So
more deals.
Yeah, slow flips. So the beautiful thing about slow flips is that it's easier to get your hands on a buy and hold or your first rental, quote unquote, rental property with this type of method. Because you're not doing any work, you're not doing any repairs. Well, you can do repairs if you want, but I don't do any repairs. Like literally, I do not pick up. You should see some of the properties. I like some of the properties that I do, man. Like
I gotta give
I
you a
don't
round of
do
applause.
anything.
I gotta give you a round of applause because there's so many people out here begging and looking for work to do, and I keep telling them, stop looking for work to do.
No, no work. I mean, because you got to look at it like the majority of single family landlord or buy and hold investors, which some of us wholesale. I like to wholesale to landlord investors because they buy a little bit more. But anyway, majority, like 99% of these investors, they're like they only really cash flowing a few $100 a month. Like really, like they're really cash flowing a
One
few
little
$100
thing
a
will
month.
wipe them out, right? One
Yeah.
little furnace go out or something.
Oh, it's a wrap. One water heater busted. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. That means your cash flow is wiped out for that year. Opposed to me, like I'm buying, like I like to buy and see the D, like I like to buy and see in D class, but I like to buy the best house in the D class for the cheap price. But I'm a good marketer, so I don't have to buy them on market. I buy them off market. So I'm buying the best house in the D class at a good price at 30 grand on average a pop. And I'm getting 800, 850 on the average. That's a credible cash on cash return. If you do those numbers, that's like a 20 to 25% cash on cash return. Once you take out, just say you take out a 2-3 month vacancy rate. That's a beautiful return for me.
Most definitely. So since this pandemic has hit and everybody's now getting more into virtual wholesaling, I mean, were you virtual wholesaling and stuff before, or were you always doing more so going to the house? How are you doing business and how are you doing it now?
Say it one more time. You froze up, Chris.
So yeah, I'm asking about wholesaling and virtual wholesaling. What are you doing now as far as since this pandemic hit? Has this affected you in any way, or you still been doing deals virtually?
Yeah, I'm doing it virtually. Since the pandemic, man, honestly and shockingly, when they first shut things down in mid-March, I thought things was going to slow up. It actually did the opposite. Business got way busier. I've obtained more deals. The only thing is that the timing of the closing, the duration of the closing has slowed up, meaning that the time that I get it under contract, whether I'm a wholesaler or I'm going to buy it for myself, once I send that document to the title company, we can't close in a week or 2 weeks now. I have to put it 30 days or on a contract. Actually, my title company 2 hours ago emailed me saying that I'm on my second extension on a property on an auction property because the courts are just slow during this whole pandemic. So that part of it's slow, but as far as getting deals and buyers and like rehabs on the market are going like crazy, multiple offers. It's insanely busy in all these markets, man. It's beautiful. And so don't let the limited belief hold you back and think, oh, this pandemic, I'm going to wait till it's over to get started. Like, right, you need to get started now. Like, this is it. It's still people home. All right. It's still people home. And I feel that we're going to have a second quarantine coming. I just found out today, I went to the Apple store and they just closed the Apple store, Chris. I don't know where you're at, but they just closed the Apple store because of this spike.
Yeah,
and
I'm in St. Louis. They just changed the rules to make us all have to wear a mask, city and county. They want us wearing masks everywhere now.
Yeah, but that's not doing anything. It's not really doing much at the end of the day. And because first of all, us Americans, we don't listen. We're not going to be 6 feet apart, man. In most cases, we're face to face. We're talking. We hugging each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So with that being said, I live in Orlando, Florida, man. Like, it's one of the top top areas for tourists. I mean, it's you should have seen this weekend. You should have seen
Really?
this week. It was insanely. It was insane. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. So you coming back to what you were saying a little bit ago in regards to your creative type deals, are you doing like a lease option, a contract for deed? What type of instrument are you doing with these type of deals?
Yeah, I do. Now in Birmingham, I do lease options because the contract for deed thing, you cannot evict like a tenant. I
Mm,
prefer contract for deed though, but I do lease options. The reason why I prefer contract for deed over lease options because with the lease options, it's still the tenant buyer can still argue that they can still argue the landlord tenant that you're still a landlord. Contract for deed, I can go into in my Virginia. That's why I use contract for deed in Virginia, which I'm glad they allow that. Is that we can still evict them like a tenant. They can't argue that I'm a landlord because the contract for deed says this is a sale.
that's
The
right.
lease option is there's a lease, and separately there's a separate option. And really, I mean, it might be rare, but you still left open as the investor for the landlord tenant act for that savvy tenant because it may be out of 10, it may be one savvy tenant be like, hey, this is he's leasing the property, so he's on the hook for the repairs or he's on the hook to give me my deposit back, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer the contract for deed, but I use lease options in the Birmingham because you can't evict with a contract for deed. In Birmingham, I don't know if you know about the Birmingham market, but it takes about 12 months to do a foreclosure.
Wow. Definitely don't want to let somebody live on your land for a
Yeah,
whole dang on year.
yeah. So I'm not. I mean, I might be on the hook. This might be a slight risk with the lease option because of the landlord tenant act, but I'm still writing it up the same way, kind of, sort of, as I am doing with the contract for deed. I'm still saying the down payment is non-refundable. I'm still having a purchase price on the option contract. I still have, well, not still, but I add like their rents. Like just say it was $900 in rents. I'll say $100 of that 900 rents goes towards the purchase price on the option as a credit every month. Well, I still have some incentives for them with the lease option. But yeah, I mean they both work. But if I had a choice, I would choose the contract for deed.
I know that's right. And so are you an advocate of closing all of these creative deals with a real estate attorney?
I'm not opposed to it. I like real estate attorneys. The title company in my Virginia market is not a closing attorney. He's a title company. However, he used to practice. He used to have, his attorney license. So
Mhm.
I'm getting the experience of an attorney without paying the attorney fees. So, and I learned this through one of my old wise guys a long time ago. The reason why I don't use a closing attorney, unless, just say only time I use a closing attorney is if my private lenders have a specific title company or closing office they want to use. I'm like, okay, I'll go and use your closing attorney. But here's why I really use a title company because my title, when I'm buying a property for myself to keep, whether it's for a fix and flip or a slow flip or a rental, right? The title, the closing cost is cheaper, always gonna be cheaper with the title company versus actual closing attorney because you're gonna be paying like those attorney fees is always higher. So when wholesalers, literally, like a wholesaler texted me, I'm actually buying a house in Virginia for 30. I just got a deal like literally like an hour and a half ago for 30 grand. I'm buying for a slow flip. He wants me to use his closing attorney. I'm like, dude, like I'm the buyer. I want to use my title company because I know the titles. I know my closing fees is going to be a lot cheaper with this title company I've been using for years. And I knew his attorney, and I was like, the attorney is going to be charging me an extra $500-$600, man.
For no reason.
Yeah. So he was kind of like huffing and puffing. I'm like, you're the wholesaler. I'm the buyer. I should be able to choose who I want to close the deal with. Like,
Exactly.
you don't have to say so in that part. You can't make me use your closing attorney. I can choose my title company.
Right. So you can use that side and I'll use it for my side and you pay that side. And then they're gonna be like, oh no, we can use yours. They like they're paying no fee, so what difference does it make?
Exactly. He's still getting the same assignment fee, whoever he chooses. So
Wow. So that's cool. That's cool. So when it comes to wholesaling, is there any tips or anything you can give people as far as finding cash buyers? I hear a lot of people out here saying, oh, you know any cash buyers? And I think they're everywhere. But what do you think about that?
oh, that's easy, man. If you got the deal, I guarantee the buyer is going to come. As long as you put your, raise your hand and say you have a deal out. Like if you just lock a deal up and you just hide it in your pocket, never tell anybody, then nobody never know you have a deal. But if you put it out there, you'll find buyers. So here's what I do. Go to AntonioPropertyData.com. That's AntonioPropertyData.com. It's affiliation with partners with PropStream. And you can export as many cash buyers in your market as that they possibly have in that market. It's easy. You can filter it out. Just put in Greensboro, North Carolina, and then you could put filter it out to buyers that brought in the last 2 years, right? And you could it might come out with like 8,000 buyers, and then if you want, you can just export those buyers. You could do corporate meaning like just the business LLCs, businesses, or you can do personal, like people who don't have the properties tied into their business name. We like to do it all. Sometimes we'll do a split test and we'll do corporate and we'll do the personal name ones, and we'll export that, and then from there we'll skip trace. And you can skip trace within AntonioPropertyData.com as well, but back skip tracing is probably the best for a skip tracing for a group. You can do back skip tracing, very cheap, like 10 cents. I don't know. It's some cents. And you skip trace the list, and you simply send out a text blast to like, hey, I got a hey, this is Antonio. I got a sweet wholesale deal in Greensboro, North Carolina. Text me back if you're interested. You can even maybe tell them the price. I don't know. It's just super simple. Like people make this thing harder. Secondly, you can put the deal on down Facebook Marketplace. Like Facebook Marketplace, we sell so many damn slow flips that way, and we sell so many damn wholesale deals that way. It's just simple. The reason why I like the list though, because you already know they're vetted cash buyers, because you found that data. That's data. But Facebook Marketplace is free. You can put stuff on Facebook Marketplace in your specific market in the house for sale section, and you're gonna get buyers that way as well.
So basically, get a good deal, and the buyer should come knocking your door down. No excuse.
Yeah. All right. When wholesalers see wholesalers, which just say my private investor community in my academy, some people will put a deal in there and be like, hey, Antonio, I've been just joined your group, man. I had this deal for 3 weeks. I can't get it off. And I'm like, hey, what's the deal? Like, you mind sharing it inside the group here? And I'll look at it and I'm like, that's not a deal. No wonder it hasn't sold. It's a reason. It's a reason why if you're a wholesaler and I can like vouch for this myself. If I can't sell a deal, all right, is really like one main reason why I can't sell it is really like I'm in it for too much, or I got it locked up in a place where there's no activity. But that's not the case for me no more. That's usually for people who starting out. They didn't do their analysis and they got a property locked up where there's no activity, where there's no cash buyers at. But usually is that number one reason they just got it they got it locked up in an inflated price. It's just, they need to be lower. It's usually 99% like chance that's the reason why they can't sell the property. Because if you have a deal, Chris, it's easy to wholesale a property. Easy. I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are in some type of Facebook group on social media. You could just put your deal. Hey, I got a property in Tampa, Florida for $80,000, ARV 160. Needs 15 at work. And if that's the real numbers, you got a property for 80, needs 15 at work, and it's worth 160. I guarantee you're going to get 80 DMs.
It will be sold quickly if it's really a deal. So I always say if it's either two reasons the property don't sell, the price is too high or the marketing just sucks altogether. That's usually the reason. But I guess we can add that third one. You're in an area without no activity. That could be possible too.
Right.
Most definitely. So let me see if we can answer some questions here before we let you go, bro. Let's see what we got. I know a lot of people been asking. I know they're like, he ignoring my questions. All right, so let's see here. Big Worm over here on Periscope. I guess when you were talking about the subject to deals and stuff like that, they want to know, so does that help build your credit?
Subject twos do not help build your credit because the subject to that property, that loan is still on that the person who sold you the deal. It's still on their credit. They're still on the hook. So if you're paying that loan on that property and you stop paying for 2 months, it's gonna fuck up their credit. They're on the hook, which, they're not in the driver's seat in this case because they sold you the property. You got the deed for your subject to. All you're doing is taking over the loan. Whoever gets the deed owns the property. Even though the loan is still in their name, you're still getting the deed, and that's all that matters, the deed. But I think, is that Big Worm is asking how do you help build your credit?
Now we're
So,
saying, does that help build your credit when you do those subject twos? And yeah, so you got it there. So yep, the loan ain't in your name, so it has nothing to do with your credit whatsoever.
is he looking to build his credit? I mean, I have tips for that if he's.
So does that help? Yeah, tell him a way he can help build his credit. Drop something heavy on him right there, then, bro.
Yeah, so here's a way to build your credit for Big Worm or anybody that's watching this. Number one, you want to, if you have some credit cards, like use your credit cards. I learned this the hard way. Like people, they have like this. I'm just going to use some small numbers. They can have a $2,000 limit on their credit card and use $50 of it, but haven't used that credit card in the whole year. That's gonna like hinder you. So you want to just whatever. If you go and pump some gas tonight, use that credit card. All right. Make groceries, use that credit card, but always pay it off before the cycle repeats the following month, because these credit card companies like to see activity on your credit card. They like to see that, and that you paid it off before it actually started over the following month. So just say if you like going back to $2,000, you use $1,500, but before it repeated, you paid off $1,400 and left $100 on that credit card.
Right.
Right. You keep it within that 10% or less threshold. All right. So in this case, 10% of $2,000 is $200. So if you keep it a balance of 200 and under at all times, but you use as much activity as you can before that cycle comes up that month and pay it off back to under that 10% or at 10%, it's going to see a lot of activity. Your credit's going to boost up. Another way, and they're going to increase your limit because they're like, wow, like this he's trustworthy. She's trustworthy. They're paying us back. And during a pandemic, you're paying back. Yeah, that's a good like thing right there. Another way too for people out there that don't own a property, because obviously if you own a property and you're making your mortgage payments on time, right? That shows on your credit report. That's always amazing. But the people that are renting to landlords, which is probably a good majority amount that don't own a property and they're renting right now, where they live in an apartment, whatnot, you can use rentreporters.com, and Rent Reporters will basically call your landlord every month to see if you made your rent payment on time. And they what they do is they document that on your credit bureaus that you. Oh, wow. So rent now is shown kind of like as a mortgage payment on your credit report. So you paying your rent on time. If you like falls with your rent, you're sleeping, because your credit right now, that's a tip. Your credit score could probably go up the next 20, 25, 50 points in the next month or so just off that.
So that rentreporters.com, do they report to all three or just to like TransUnion or something?
TransUnion and Experian, for what I know.
Okay, so that's better than nothing. 2 out of 3 is better than just one, because I use one and they only do one. So
yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, and me personally, I like to check. I check my stuff once a week, man. I check my stuff once a week because I just like to be as flawless as I can be. Back before I did my first deal in 2009, I had let my I didn't tell this backstory, but just I was making $23,000 as a truck driver a year, and in 2007 I got approved. This is back when I was doing music heavy in the music business. I was 23 years old. They approved me for $140,000 loan, making $23,000 a year. So you just do the numbers. For anybody who want to know what the before this bust happened or during the bust and where this was the bubble, like the end of the bubble in 2007, watch The Big Short, because that tells it pretty much almost verbatim. The movie that called The Big Short with Christian Bale. That's an amazing movie. So in 2007, I bought this house. I couldn't afford it. My monthly payment was $1,100 a month, and I let that go to foreclosure. So that messed my credit up, right? Fortunate enough, I learned early. Remember, my second deal was the private lender. I learned to raise money through private lenders. So I was living good. I mean, with fixing flips and stuff like that, just raising money through private lenders. So I really didn't have to use my credit with banks as much, but I still learned as of late that your credit is like critical. Like right now, my credit is very good right now. And I learned the hard way. So pay your bills not pay your bills, but like, pay your credit cards on time, but most importantly, check your credit very often. Don't check it once a year, because that's a long time. And
so you using like one of those sites like Credit Karma or something like that, or what do you recommend as far as
Credit Karma, free credit report? That's a really good one. It's a lot of them. Experian is a good one. It's free credit report is probably one of the good go-tos for people. And I think they have an app you can download as well. But most importantly, you want to use your credit card, use it, and then pay it off before that cycle hits that following month. Pay it off to like that 10% or less threshold, because you want to keep something on that credit card. And then the next month, just gas, food, whatever.
Just use that mug.
Yeah.
All right. So we got, let's see, Sabrina. I guess that's Sabrina of some type. I can't tell there, but over on Periscope say, if now is the time to get started, how do we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. What are you talking? Are you talking about like fix and flip rentals?
Just get into real estate, probably.
Wholesaling?
Yeah. Just how did it get started? I guess is what I mean. Or I guess we can come back.
Okay.
You can ask that question again, Sabrina, or whatever your name is there.
Yeah.
Angie up here in St. Louis. Angie buys houses. She says, Antonio, what all markets are you in? And how do you keep yourself informed of all of the different rules and laws for each different market?
Oh, that's a great question, Angie. So I am in the Virginia market and I'm in the Birmingham market. Just started in the Birmingham market. Just bought my first slow flip out there. I partnered with a guy out there a couple months ago. Predominantly the Virginia market. And how I keep up is masterminds. Like I'm tied and involved with a ton of players through all these major markets, and we have private groups on Facebook, and we do once a year masterminds. Some people might follow me, they might see me in countries like Haiti and Nepal. Like pretty much those are all real estate investors that we're really masterminding, but we're still having fun at the same time when we're talking business. So I keep myself tied into like certain circles of people that keep me informed. Like a couple of years ago, just say for instance, like when I was in Nepal and we landed, and I heard a bunch of the investors, like 12 or 14 of us, and most of that group was just woo-hooing about cost segregation that Trump passed. And they was like, yeah, man, I saved this much. I made this much last year, and I saved this much, and I only paid this much. I'm like, what the hell is cost segregation? What are y'all talking about? So as soon as
one word, some people never heard that before. You know that, right?
What's that?
Some people never heard that before. They like, cost segregation. What is that? They don't realize break down the inside of the house, and it's a tax write-off. They don't understand.
It's a tax write-off, not for wholesalers. It's for people who actually buy real estate, because wholesaling is not considered an investor to people. It's considered a dealer, but it's for people who buy and own real estate. So for people who own real estate, whether apartment buildings, office buildings, 100 doors, whatever the case may be, they're not paying that much in tax. They're making more money, but not paying that much in taxes. That's why I like to acquire more properties as possible and and wholesale as less as possible, because you stick your head out that you're going to have to account for that 35-40% tax bracket every year, unless you got a whole bunch of write-offs. If you got a whole bunch of write-offs, I mean, you spent the money somewhere. So, but Ron LeGrand, I don't know people who know Ron LeGrand. I've been following him since the day before my first deal, 2009. But he always said, the less I do, the more I make.
That's right.
Yep.
Don't make me go get the book in there. The less I do, the more I make.
The more I make. The meaning that he's owning a shit ton of rental properties and cash flowing deals. You don't have to do much. You don't have to fix and flip. You don't have to wholesale. He's keeping these and he's making more. He's paying less on taxes. Exactly. Some people pay zero. The people that like the top dogs that own, I mean, like buying 500 unit buildings, strip malls, they probably not even really paying nothing on taxes.
Nothing. Your tax liability is zero. I like that. And let's see here. Danielle Denise says, I definitely need that VA contact to the title company. She's up in Virginia. We did a deal together. What was that, last year or a few months ago? She said, what's the contact of that person? She want to know who it is, who the best title company up in Virginia.
Yeah. So I use American Escrow and Title, Danielle. They're based in Newport News. Very good title company. He did my first deal in 2009. I use them a lot. Sometimes if I'm a certain private lender I use, I might go to like a LT Kaplan, which is good. But he's an attorney. His fee's gonna be a little bit more, but he is good.
Right.
But American Escrow and Title, I like them. They're fast. One reason why I like them is because I can get them on the phone. I can get the head honcho on the phone. Some of these guys, like, they have such big operations, you can't get the head honcho on the phone until maybe the day before closing or the day of closing. Hey, I've been trying to get in touch with you for 2 weeks, and you just hit me back because my file just hit your desk the day before the day of closing. I want to get the head honcho on the phone. I want them to respond back to me in a decent time frame. So I like American because they don't have 100 investors to deal with in my market. I think Marnie and George has, I think he told me like 10 to 12 they deal with, that's a decent amount. It's a real good amount, but it's still doable where he can reach back with me. Where are you located, Danielle?
She's in Virginia. She's in what is it, close to the Richmond area? Some part of Virginia. Yeah, but that makes definite sense because I've been through like 9 different title companies. Only 1.5 of them any good. So that tell you something right there. And I'm talking about in one market. I'd have had something that sucked. All right, let's see here. Edward wants to know, let me see here. How do you determine the best market?
Hey, Edward, man, all these markets are booming.
Straight up.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It's competitive in any major city for the most part, man. Like anywhere is a booming market. So the best market right now, when I guess that's, if I'm taking it correct, best market, you mean like the most competitive, the most market, the most investors, or you mean the best market with the least investors? I guess that can go either way.
Yeah.
Because the ones I'm assuming, like with the least investors, these little small town countries. They're not countries, but they're like little small towns that people never even heard of the city before. You got to find those ones. Like I just literally picked up a deal last week, going back to social media. Dude DM me on Facebook. No, I didn't. He just been following me on Facebook, a random DM. I got the property for 21 grand in Americus, Georgia. Never even heard of Americus until last week.
Wow. And that can happen. Yeah.
But I started looking in the market and I'm like, damn, like this right here could be, if I'm taking it right, it could be one of the best markets out there because of not competition. I had to go through 2 title companies for them to understand what an assignment was. So that lets me know something too. The first title company never heard of an assignment, I'm like, wow, these people are behind.
Yeah. You know what? You might have been dealing with the same people. One of my friends here in St. Louis, she did 5 duplexes in Americus, Georgia. So, and they had the same thing. They were like, what's this assignment? Acting like they don't know what's going on and real lost. And yeah, you got to get a good title company. It makes a difference. Let's see here. Who is this? Cole Deuce say, how do we reach him for mentorship?
Yeah, so if you're interested in mentorship, and I'm not trying to upsell you guys, it's not my thing, but you can go to Antonio and Scott coaching.com. That's Antonio and Scott coaching.com. And, you can apply for the mentorship. You do have to invest in yourself. It's not free. You have to, pay for our time, and you're going to get some. I've been in the game for 11 years. Scott been in the game for 25 years. He's the one put me onto the slow flips. So he has 120 of these doors. So we partner up on this, and we're coaching students. A lot of them, honestly, Chris, wants to learn slow flips more so than wholesaling, which is crazy.
It's more lucrative. I mean, I don't even look for wholesale deals. I'm trying to find a deal to stay in. Can I stay in the deal? That's what I want to stay in.
Yeah, but that's when you start to grow, man, or you kind of, you're in another stage of your life. But I understand people. I get it. Some people need capital. Some people need cash. So if you need to make that 10 grand flip, make that 10 grand flip. I get it. I get it.
Oh yeah, Danielle answered. She said she in Chesapeake.
Oh wow, Danielle, send me some deals. Chesapeake is my stomping ground. Like for real. Send me some deals. I'm more so on Instagram. If you send me like a DM or something, if you got some deals, I'll reply back to you. So I'm looking. I'm buying a deal today for 30 in Newport News, which I'm assuming you're familiar with that city. It's very close to Chesapeake, and I love Chesapeake.
Chesapeake Bay, get all the pay. So if y'all have any other last minute questions, drop them in. We'll get them going before we go on. I see we got about 50 or so people watching across the different platforms. Let's see where right here. We got Angie says, what is the term again? Oh, that was cost segregation. Right?
Yeah, look it up. That's a podcast episode by itself.
Yeah. But it's for people who are holding property, not wholesaling. I'm talking about you got to stay in the deal and make it so you don't have no tax bill. All right, let's see what we got here. Get that Scoot Slow Flip new course. You got a course for that?
I don't. Honestly, Chris, people have been asking me for a slow flip course for 2 years. I don't have a slow flip course. I need to get one because I know there's a high demand for slow flips. Now that, I've been talking about it online, and I still talk more on the wholesaling topic because that's where my following wants to learn specifically on the wholesaling topic, that people that follow me. But I always still talk about slow flips, and then people that hear it, they're like, hey man, I want that course. Like, where's it at? So it's going to come. It's going to come. And it's no excuse for me. I honestly haven't. I'm actually really doing deals out there. I mean, I'm not really in the business, just selling information. So I really haven't carved the time. I can carve the time. I can do it. It's no excuse. I just haven't carved the time yet to like do a course. A course, guys, for people that's going to the information side, it's a lot of work behind making a course.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to carve some like 90 days of my time to to make this course, but I want to do it so bad, Chris.
Yeah, I mean the information side is a lot. A lot of people ask, "You got a course? You got a course?" Nerd, but I do some coaching. All right, so let's see here. So I know you've been in the game a little while. Can you give us some mistakes that you have made in the past and what you learned from them?
Well, what mistakes have you made that you learned from? Is dragging my feet. That's probably one of the first things I can think of is dragging my feet on these deals. Like, you got to act fast, and you have to move with speed of implementation, and not hesitate, because even as a newbie, you still have to move with speed of implementation. And that's why it's important to have a mentor too, because it helps you to move with confidence. But it's so many deals that I looked at. I've done a lot of deals. Don't get me wrong. I've done so many deals, but it's still a lot of deals that I missed because I dragged my feet on, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna. And I'm talking about within the last 3 years, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm gonna, I'll call you back. Let me do my comps, and I'm really trying to like do my comps. But now is these last 3 or so years has been a hot market, just been smoking hot. Like, you gotta really make an offer sight unseen.
Yeah.
You got to make an offer sight unseen, like, really. And you honestly, if your paperwork is right, you don't have nothing to lose other than time, which, I mean, time is valuable, but you're not losing any money because you have your backup clauses in your contract, or you better have your backup clause in your contract. So get these things locked up. If you get them locked up, do your numbers. And if the deal seems skinny, if you only see like a $5,000 wholesale deal spread in there, you know, because I honestly I don't get excited over $5,000. Like I don't like a deal I see five. I'm really not gonna move forward on
It's too
as
slim.
much as I did, 7 years ago. I was chasing the $5,000. I like to chase a minimum of a 10 grand deal,
Mm-hmm.
a minimum, because something can eat that $5,000 away quick, or your buyer can come down $5,000 on the asking price, and now you're stuck with zero. But just get these deals locked up, especially for the ones that haven't done the deal. Put it out on Facebook Marketplace, get you some data of buyers, send a text campaign, send an RVM Ringler's voicemail campaign out to these buyers so you have a deal. It's so many hungry buyers, more so in this pandemic than ever. So you can wholesale a deal easy right now.
Yeah, and during this pandemic, it seemed like people like stop wholesaling or something because like they're like begging for houses. Like anybody got anything? Like, dang, is it dry like that?
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right. So I know you mentioned earlier Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of my favorite books as well. What other books, podcasts, and resources do you recommend for others to get their mindset right?
Yeah. So the book I'm looking at it right now in my library, Tony Robbins, is called Money. That's the money Bible right there. Money. 4-Hour Work Week. That revolutionized the way I do business today because I read that book in 2010, I think. It's a classic book. It's never going to get old. But my goal in 2010, because I was like 2010, I was on a high. I was like, man, I'm gonna get this big, 10,000 square feet office. I'm gonna have 50 employees, blah blah blah. I'm gonna have an operating team. I read this book for our work week. He just like, hey, he say, all you need virtual assistants, or you don't need the 50 employees, or all you need is a lean team in this day and age because you have technology and you have social media, which was true. So I basically like kind of just follow his tracks, and he called it the new rich, the way of the new rich. You get to travel more, you get to take many retirements. We're not going to just work until 65 as business owners. We're going to work our ass off for like 8 months and then take 4 months off, no work. That's a mini retirement.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So if you got 50 employees, I'm telling you, I know a lot of business owners and even some wholesaler operators that have a lot of employees, like, a 4,000 square feet office with high overhead. But the lifestyle is not there as much. I'm a lifestyle guy. I like low overhead. I like more profit in the bank, which makes me happy. And I like to travel, man. Like, fortunately, I haven't been to travel as much since this pandemic. I haven't traveled since March. Just had a newborn, and he's 2 months old, so we kind of keep him safe as possible. But man, I like to travel, bro. And I can do stuff from my phone and my laptop. I got my team back at home. I got a little office back at home with a couple of assistants. You don't need much.
Right.
I got a property manager that makes sure the slow flip rents come in every month on time. We have a software we use online. You don't need much, trust me.
So there's really no excuse anymore.
No, I mean, if you're trying to make your first $100,000 in wholesaling, you can do that. You can make. I'm not trying to like scare people, because this could be big numbers to some people, but you can make $500,000 wholesaling just yourself, you and yourself.
Wow.
Like, if you go hard, like you $100,000, you can do that. Like, if you're really serious, that should be a starting point.
Yeah.
In wholesaling business, like yourself, without anybody.
I can understand that most definitely. Let's see. I got my bro John Lewis here in St. Louis. Says, do you use an RMLO for your CFD dispositions?
I don't know what RMLO is, but yes, I have a dispositions person. If that is tied into dispositions, I have a person who sells my deals, and that's really my acquisitions guy. But tell me what a RMLO is.
Okay. He'll type that in a second. Let's see. Afro Mystic. Either he is how I found you, Chris, or how I find you, but between the two of y'all, it's got the wholesale game. I appreciate this. So yeah, I watched some of Antonio videos when I first started. So I went, I said, look at this guy. He ain't playing. He in the hood. He over here. He don't give a care. He just in there. I said, that's what you got to do. Thank you, Afro Mystic. He said he appreciate this. All right, let's see. Can you define slow flip as different from a regular flip?
Yeah, so slow flip is a regular flip is a fix and flip or a wholesale deal. You're getting in, you're getting out 30 days or less with a wholesale deal, or 3 to 4 months with a fix and flip. That's a regular flip. You're flipping. Slow flip, you're keeping it long term as a buy and hold for cash flow, right? But we call it slow flip because you're really selling to that tenant buyer on a land contract or a contract for deed. I get a non-refundable 3 to 5 in my market, 3 to 5 grand non-refundable upfront in my pocket on a $30,000 house, right? And I sell it to them $69.99 on a 30-year note, which they pay me on an average $800 a month. So that's a slow flip, all right? So that's the difference between the two.
Right. Yeah, my very first one.
And if anybody wants to like join my academy too, if they can, because the coaching is the actual one-on-one coaching mentorship is a high-end program. I have a very affordable program. It's House Flipper Academy. And I talk about slow flips within the group all the time, and teaching them about slow flips with, the Facebook lives, and I'm doing lives like StreamYard like this into the group. And so if anybody wants to join the House Flipper Academy, it's a $47 program. So $47 program.
No excuse for that one.
HouseFlipperAcademy.com.
What was it again?
HouseFlipperAcademy.com.
HouseFlipperAcademy.com. Cool. Yeah, my very first slow flip. I just learned that word from you in the last couple of weeks, actually, because I never heard of it. But my very first one, I got 20,000 down. I'm trying to find some more. That was my first subject to deal sold on the lease option. I said, can I find like 10 more of them?
They're beautiful. And when you acquire your first slow flip, like wholesaling does not excite you. It's like, man, I'm trying to get another slow flip because that 3 to 5 grand down is in my pocket and is not. You can't tax me on that because it's borrowed money. Like they can't tax me on they can't tax me on that non-refundable down payment.
That's what makes a difference. You got to know how to dodge the tax man. Let's see what we got here. Lily says, right. All right. What's Antonio's Instagram?
It's Antonio _ the letter J Edwards.
There you go. Boom. I'm a cheat.
Oh, there you go.
I cheat. It's right up there in the upper right corner, Danielle.
There you go.
Follow him on his Instagram. He put out a lot of good content.
We got to reverse engineer ourselves. You got to cheat, guys. You got to cheat. You got to cheat your way to success. And I'm not talking about doing some illegal stuff. I'm talking about in the legal right. You got to cheat. Find somebody who's already doing it. Ask for the answers. That's the way to do it. Yep. If I got $100,000 deal that I want to keep as a rental, I'm going to put a message out there. Hey, I'm trying to, I have a property, $100,000. I'm not going to say I don't have the money. I'm just like, hey, I'll pay you a 10% return. It's just in a professional way that I'm seeking some funding for this deal. I'm asking who has $100,000. Who, if that attracts a person, they're going to message me or and we do business together.
Right. There we go. And then John Lewis came back to talk about that RMLO, residential mortgage loan officer. I heard that after 3 owner finance contract for deed sales that you need to use one.
A residential mortgage loan officer? No, not in the Virginia market, man. In Birmingham either.
Right. So, yeah, I guess that depends on your state of the market. I'm not sure if they have to have it in Missouri. I see you say, I've heard. Find the law that says that, John. Look up that stuff and see what it say on the books. Does it say that in the revised Missouri statutes? Or, or where do they say that at? Because people heard a lot of stuff. They heard you can't wholesale either, but they still doing it. All right, let's see here. If I don't have to use one, I would like that. I just heard sometime we need to be in quarter with Dodd-Frank.
Oh, you're talking about the Dodd-Frank Act. He's talking about the Dodd-Frank Act. Last time I heard Trump was trying to wipe away Dodd-Frank. And obviously, I'm not saying I'm a Trump fan, but Trump is primarily a real estate investor. So he's going to look out for real estate investors. We just happen to be in the field that he's in. And he was supposed to wipe that Dodd-Frank back at least a couple of years ago when he was talking about the cost segregation thing.
Right.
But I remember like that Dodd-Frank was in the way. But with that being said, John, like with the contract for deed, the title are not transferring over to those buyers that I'm owner financing to. I'm doing contract for deed where the deed is still in my name. So if you
Right.
go look at public record, it's still in my company name and you still see it. So I could have did 5 and you still see 5 in my name, you know.
Exactly what I was about to say. John Lewis, don't do all those seller finance deals. Put them on a lease option or a contract for deed.
I think
Like
we lost Chris.
most definitely. You know, because I got about 10 of them now. Lease option, baby, my favorite exit strategy. All right, let's see.
What's that, Chris?
Yeah, I was just saying that it's better to do, like you say, a contract for deed or a lease option versus doing these straight seller finance deals where you have to deal with Dodd-Frank and all these other laws that I don't know anything about. You still
There you
good?
go. You came back. You had froze up for a good 20 seconds.
Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, I was just saying that he needs to not do just those seller finance deals, do more of those contract for deeds and or lease options. Like I say, do lease options and you don't have to worry about none of that.
Right.
All right, let's see what we got here. They got that. I'll be coming up on my third one in the next few weeks. Slow flip / contract for deed. Yeah, just do it on the lease option if you think it's going to be an issue. That's what I would do. My thought.
Yep.
Let's
if you're worried about the Dodd-Frank, you can do lease options all day, every day.
Right. What did you learn about slow flips? Learn from Emily Netz?
I learned slow flips through, it originated from my good friend and my mentor, Scott Jelinek. He put me onto it about 7 years ago, give or take. And at the time, I was going the Section 8 route, the rental, fix it up, get it to the rent ready standards, get me a $200-300 a month cash flow, buy me a $150,000 rental property, get a loan on that property, be in debt 30 years. That's a whole nother story for another day. But he kept buzzing. He's like, hey man, Antonio, this slow flip, man. I'm telling you, man, I've been there, done that. I've been in this game for years, and I kept going in and out and then finally 5 years ago, I was like, I got burnt out quick. Like I was like, man, I'm tired of these. Even if you have a property management, you as an owner are still going to hear about those leaky toilet calls because it's coming out to your business account.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, Scott? Okay, tell me about the slow flip thing again. So he put me onto it, and I've never turned back. And it's such a beautiful thing. I can buy a $30,000 property, $25,000 property, whatever the case. Average is $30,000, right? Even if I'm not even using my own cash, which I do on a lot of these. Some of these I borrow some private money for 5 years on purpose. So I'll be in debt only 5 years instead of doing a 30-year loan with the bank. That's a long time. I can look at 5 years and be like, man, 5 years of fly. I only got paid this lender for 5 years. On a measly $30,000 loan, my monthly payment is not that much, right? And I'm gonna get $3,000 to $5,000 non-refundable down for my tenant buyer. So now I'm really in it for 27 to 25 grand, right? And I'm gonna get average $875 a month.
Easy money.
And I'm paying my lenders $667 a month because I purposely make it 5 years. So $667, right? Mm-hmm. And I like it like that because I'm just going to pay that $667 every month, right? Because 5 years is free and clear. Free and clear. Before
you know it, you owe nothing on it, but got cash flow coming in forever if possible. Yeah, I know that's right. So for people to connect with you, drop your Instagram, your social media, where you want people to connect with you, things like that. So if they want to connect with you outside of this broadcast.
Yeah, you could just follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. Say you was on Chris podcast tonight, and I'll definitely reply back to you. Instagram, you can put it back up there, Chris, if you can. It's Antonio _J _Edwards.
Let's see. Magic.
Super simple to find. Yep, top right. So
there it is. Antonio _J _Edwards. So yeah,
And if
that's
you want some free content, my YouTube, just type in Antonio Edwards real estate or something. I'm pretty sure I'll pop up. Subscribe to my channel. You can check my track record up there. I think my first video I put up there was in 2009. And I hate that video. I hate those videos back then. And the reason why I don't take them off because a couple of people convinced me, like, Antonio, like, people can really see that you've been in the game for that while, and you do what you say you do. So, like, let them see your grind and how far you came. So that's why I leave those old videos up. But you can see, like, I have almost 150 to 200 videos of content on my YouTube channel. So
wow. So they can go in there and just learn all type of stuff about wholesaling, talking to sellers, all of that good stuff.
yep, slow flips. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, cool, bro. Anything else you want to leave with the family before we wrap this thing up and do some more woke stuff?
Yeah. If you're starting out in this business, focus on that one strategy. It's very easy, especially with all the access we have to social media. We're on our phones, we're here, they're there. It's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to try to learn this new tactic of network marketing, or this new Amazon trick, or this new owner financing method when you haven't flipped that first deal. I like to tell people, like, start wholesaling just to learn the principles if you haven't done any deals and you don't have an operating business yet, because you really can't make that. If you're gonna make a mistake, it's really gonna be time with wholesaling. It's hard to lose money with wholesaling, other than time and maybe some few marketing dollars, but let your mistakes be small and minimal with starting out with wholesaling, and you get the focus on that wholesaling. And next thing you know, if you focus on that, your money's gonna start growing, and you naturally progress to the next thing. Like, it's happened naturally. Like, my first deal wasn't a fix and flip, even though it was a second deal, but I had a mentor that literally walked me through the whole thing. And I didn't buy my first rental property until 2012. All right. 3 years into the game. So just let it naturally progress and focus on one strategy and let that become a running business for you. And then you can go to the next one.
That's right, because I know I see a lot of people try to hop around and do too many things. I'm like, get good at something first, just something.
Right.
Most definitely.
100%.
That's right. That's right. Antonio J. Edwards, my bro, coming in out of Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and all around there. You just all everywhere making the deals. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming on. All right.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Thanks for having me, Chris. Have a good night, man.
All right, you too. That's how we do it, family, right here each and every Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. We try to bring in a heavy hitter so you can actually learn this business from the professionals who've been doing this way before me, maybe even way before you. It don't matter. Anybody can teach you something new. So go ahead and learn. So if you're watching this on a replay, be sure to leave a smart comment. Put it in there. Let me know you came in. Say, yeah, I saw it. I ain't agree with this. Or, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's me, man. I be doing it. Let me know that you came in. Drop it in just like that. Let me see here. I see some stuff over here. E. Marie. Oh, you missed him. He gone, but I think he saw it. E. Marie, what's up? How you doing? Great information tonight, Chris. Love the knowledge. Yes, yes. That's what we're talking about. Literally learn the game from him. Yeah, he definitely put out a lot of information. Mike buys houses full price, dropping flames, baby. That's what I'm talking about. So like I said, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share. Tag somebody who wants to learn the business of real estate. Tag somebody. Thanks, Chris. What is your coaching site? So for my coaching and things like that, you can actually go right there, chrismonroestl.com, but I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put it up on a banner up here, which is actually wokerealestate.com. Wokerealestate.com. That's where you want to go. If you want to learn this real estate game, there it is. Boom, right above my head there. WokeRealEstate.com. Got over 200 free real estate videos to learn everything from the rooter to the tutor. Learn wholesaling, virtual wholesaling, creative deals, talking to sellers, talking to buyers, hiring VAs, all of that stuff. I mean, there's so much information. It's information overload, to be honest with you. So it's really no excuse these days for people to say, well, I don't know what I should do. Go get on that YouTube University. That's what I did. I went and watched 200 some videos. Say, I'm going to learn this game. I said, what? You can get money, get in real estate with no money? I'm finna go watch all these videos. What's your excuse? So now I done built up a war chest of videos as well. 200 plus videos right there for you. Straight fire. That's right. Each one teach one. That's right, Riri. You right. Good stuff, Vanessa. Glad to have you. Very good information. Thanks. Maylene. Bet. That's the place. WokeRealEstate.com. That's right. So you can follow me on all social media outlets at Chris Monroe STL. That's Snapchat, that's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's YouTube. Don't forget that YouTube with all those videos at Chris Monroe STL. Indigo Blue, one of my favorites right there. He say the best mentor ever. That's right. One of my favorite students right there. He come in every week and he be coming in like boom, 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 trying stuff. You know, you got to do some trying. Some people say they want to try or think about trying. He actually takes action. So when you become a massive action taker, the doors will open up for you and you'll say, wow, there's so much opportunity out here. That's right. That's true. That's how I closed my first deal. YouTube University. What's the excuse? And this stream is actually, we actually do a podcast as well. So this is converted to a podcast on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and I think Stitcher and whatever those other podcasts. I think we're on like 10 different things. So if you even search online for the Woke Real Estate Podcast, you'll see a bunch of podcasts like this because we turn this video into an audio so that you can listen to it in your car, listen to it on your Apple device or whatever you're using, your phones or whatever. So we giving up the game to you for free. Just show up and win, baby. All you got to do is show up. So like I said, next week we got a good show for you as well. We'll be on with Miss, who we're on with here. Boom, there she is, Miss Andy, talking about how to build family credit. Mom, dad, and their kids. That's July 13th, next Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll be on with her. Then the following week, we're on with Flip Man, Ty, a.k.a. the Flip Man, on 20th of July. The 20th of July, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central. Make sure you're tuned in for that. The following week, on the 27th, we're back on with True Lawyer, Miss Charmaine Robinson out of Chicago, talking about how to invest in tax liens and tax deeds. And I think that's coming up here in St. Louis in August, as a matter of fact. But she's going to give a good overview and a good basic idea on how that game works so you can actually invest in tax liens and tax deeds. A lot of people want to learn that. And as far as tonight, we were with Antonio J. Edwards. Go follow him on Instagram. Good brother right there. He does nothing but give away, you know, so you got to definitely go try to get what you can get out of the game, right? And like I say, if you ever need leads, get more leads than you can ever handle at wokesource.com. That's the place. Get 7 days free of PropStream at wokesource.com. Try it out. You'll get more leads than you can handle. Pool cash buyers, absentee data, vacant house data, MLS data, all that stuff. Wokesource.com. Check it out. And if you want to skip trace your leads, get your skip tracing done at wokeskiptracing.com, as low as 15 cents per match, not per search, per match. That's wokeskiptracing.com. And for everything real estate related, wokerealestate.com for the contracts to do any type of deal, whether it's a seller finance deal, subject to wraparound mortgage, any of that stuff, just go to wokerealestate.com. And here's what you do if you want to be notified of the upcoming streams. Text JV to 31996. That'll get you the notification and the free joint venture agreement. That'll get you hooked up there. Text JV to 31996. You'll be notified of those upcoming streams as well. So I want to say thank you, everybody that came in. Work it, man. Work it, man. What up, man? I see my bro. I see you. What's going on, Miss Alcock? I see you. So that's how we do it right here. Like I say, each and every Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, streaming live on multiple platforms, on Periscope at Chris Monroe Show, on YouTube at Chris Monroe STL, on Facebook in the Woke Real Estate Investing Group, and on my personal Facebook page as well. So like I say, no problem. Vanessa, no problem. We got more goodies for you. It was good to have you on the scope too. Oh, all right, cool. Oh yeah, you know I'm gonna be in. You know it's gonna be political season. You know I got a lot to say. So you know I don't here only talk about the real estate and entrepreneurship, but I got a lot to say about a lot of topics. So you funny, man. All right, cool, bro. Glad to have you in. So I'll catch y'all on the next one. So do what you do, be who you be, and I'll see you before you see me.
And we here. And we here. And we here. Mr. I stay. Whoa, 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 whoa. And Mr. I stay.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you by wokeskiptracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match, not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. Wokeskiptracing.com. That's wokeskiptracing.com.